Mwingi wa rehema, mwenye kurehemu, kile sifa njema anastahili Mola Mwenyezi, mwingi wa rehema, mwenye kurehemu, mfalme wa siku ya malipo. Mola wetu, twakuomba utulinde na utuhifadhi kutokana na kila janga, twakuomba utuhifadhi kutokana na kila tatizo ambalo kwamba liko mbele yetu. Wageni wote ambao kwamba wametoka sehemu mbali na tofauti wakafika sehemu kama hii, twakuomba ulinzi wa hifadhi na familia zao hadi wakafika sehemu kama hii. Twakuomba uzidi na uendelee kwa hifadhi hivyo hivyo ulivyohifadhi. Wasaidie viongozi wetu kupigana na ufisadi na uiweke nchi yetu iwe ni yenye kunawiri na kung'aa, kwa kuwa nchi yetu, nchi ya Kenya, nchi tuipendayo, umeihifadhi muda mwingi na miaka mingi zaidi. Twakuomba Mungu wetu zidi kutuhifadhi na utulinde na uhifadhi nchi yetu kwa ujumla. Twakuomba umhifadhi kiongozi wetu na rais wetu Kenyatta, vile vile naibu wake na viongozi wote wa kisiasa. Twakuomba uweze kuhifadhi, uwaelekeze katika njia ambayo kwamba ni sawa. Na viongozi wote ambao kwamba wanapigana na ufisadi, Mola wetu twakuomba walinde na uwape nguvu waweze kuwahifadhi madhaifu na wawe ni wenye kuwarudishia haki yao kutoka kwa wale ambao kwamba wanachukua haki yao kwa njia ambayo kwamba haifai. Yote ambayo kwamba umewapa viongozi wetu wakaweza kupigana na ufisadi, kwa kushukuru sana Mungu wetu kwa kutuongoza katika njia ambayo kwamba imenyoka. Twakuomba Mungu wetu tuzidi kutulinda na utuhifadhi kila wakati hadi wakati ambao kwamba tutakutana na wewe. Wewe ni Mungu wetu mkarimu ambaye kwamba watupenda sote, na sote twajua wakati tunakuomba bila shaka utatujibu Mungu wetu. Kwa hayo machache ambayo kwamba twakuomba Mungu wetu, wewe ni mkarimu, tujibu dua yetu kwa hali ambayo kwamba ni bora zaidi, ili nchi yetu iwe ni nchi ambayo kwamba yang'aa na ni nchi ambayo kwamba ni ya baraka. Twakuomba Mungu wetu zidi kutulinda katika kila hali ambayo kwamba tutakuwa kwayo. Watu wote ambao kwamba wamepatwa na misukosuko katika nchi yetu kama hii, wahifadhi na walinde katika njia ambayo kwamba ni sawa, na ambao kwamba ni wagonjwa twakuomba uwape shifaa ya mapema Mungu wetu. Vile vile ambao kwamba kuna tatizo hili na tatizo lile, wewe ndio suluhisho na wewe ndio unayemjibu yule ambaye kwamba anakuomba. Kwa hayo machache ambaye kwamba tunakuomba, tutarajia utujibu Mungu wetu kwa hali ambaye kwamba ni bora zaidi. Amin, amin, amin.
Thank you very much, Chef. Let me call upon Father Waweru to come also pray for us, taking cognizance of our diversity.
Tuombe. Kwa jina la Baba, la Mwana, na Roho Mtakatifu. Amina. Almighty ever living God, we come before you this morning, thanking you for the great country Kenya you have given us. We also thank you for the wonderful and loving, peace-loving people within its borders. We also appreciate the plenty found within our borders, the resources that you have given us. In a special way, we thank you for the prevailing political goodwill, especially in our institutions. In a special way, government agencies and corruption, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, and the efforts they have put into the recovery of the assets that today we are witnessing the handover. We pray that this occasion will continue to boost the public image and grow public trust to the institutions that we have. We pray that we may continue becoming better managers of public affairs for the greater glory of your name and for the good of the people that we serve. And we ask all this through Christ our Lord.
Thank you very much, Pastor Check, for the prayers. I want to ask one of our officers to lead us in the national integrity song and the national anthem. Ellen Right? Please come forward.
That informs our actions in the fight against corruption and we believe in it. And so as we sing that song, I urge everyone to listen to the song and also believe in it. Let's start with the national anthem. I thank you for continuing standing like this. We sing the executive song without four stanzas. We are going to sing the normal song with the first four stanzas. Then the fourth stanza we are going to have. The fourth stanza we are going to sing 3 times. The first time we are going to sing the normal tune. We are going to bless you. Then the second time we sing slowly. Then the third one we sing with a lot of energy and louder. Then the second 2 last lines we are going to hold our hands as we sing Tuungane Sisi Sote. We hold our hands and we sing. So the song goes like this. Kenya yangu naipenda nachukia ufisadi. Now we can all start now. Kenya yangu naipenda nachukia ufisadi. Waharibu nchi yetu tuangamize ufisadi. Kenya yangu ngao yangu na upinga ufisadi. Hongo mbali, rushwa mbali, tuangamize ufisadi. Ndugu yangu mwananchi, tudumishe maadili, tufanyapo kazi zetu tuangamize
Thank you. To Thank you very much. To take the program to the next level, we'll have a small presentation on what we are doing before I call the Deputy CEO to take the program forward. May I call our legal officer, Freddy, to come and present a short presentation.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to present you the slide from the properties recovered by our office here in Nakuru. That is, we didn't get into this compound, but it was the last property we viewed, we visited. It's located in Day Estate. The value is 13 million. And it is, the site is like a quarter of an acre. It is reserved for the housing of the civil servants here in Nakuru town. Then to this one, it's also situated next to the place we visited. It's also a quarter of an acre, valued at 3.2 million. It's also for the civil servants, and the previous one as well. Yes. This one also is also for the housing of the civil servants. It is within the CBD. That one is block 13. This is the survey come where we went to see the residential place for the survey officers. It's valued at 20 million. It's almost half an acre. This is situated in section 58. The same was reserved for a proposed public Muslim school. It's valued at 8 million. The size is almost, there are two parcels, 942 and 943. And this one is for Caldo. It's in Naivasha municipality. The current value is around 490 million. It's around 140 acres. That's for research purposes. This one is Sotik Township. This is land reserved for the construction of the stadium in Sotik Town. There are two parcels, 364 worth 2 million, and this one is 553 worth 2.4 million. It's also part of the stadium land in Sotik. This one is the Coastal Corporation land, which we recovered through destruction of the process, where the owner wanted to eliminate. The lead owner wanted to eliminate for his personal use. I think that's all in the slides. We'll take you through a more explanation.
Yeah, captured in the presentation all that we wanted to present. So it is my pleasure to invite the Deputy CEO to take the program forward. So Michael Bomet.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khalid. Mr. Khalid is our regional head, the Rift Valley region. Our governance was CAS, safety governance. Allow me to say all protocols observed. We are saying in a different forum that all protocols observed is a special term that is used in Kenya and Nigeria. And it means all that was supposed to be said has been said and has been said well. So when you say all protocols observed, nobody will come and accuse you of not having or having observed protocol. So all protocols observed.
Allow me to begin by appreciating each and every one of you for having taken time to be with us this morning. This morning is a very important day for the Commission in that we are informing the public or reporting to the public the work that we do. The mandate of the Commission is not just to investigate for purposes of taking people to court, but we have the other important mandate of asset tracing and recovery. Kenya, as we may all know, we love the soil, we love land, and many of the scandals that have erupted in our nation actually revolve around land. Through execution of our mandate, we have managed to trace, we have managed to recover land that we have prepared a final document which in a short while will be forwarding to the concerned institutions. The land in total is valued at 626.6 million. This is the value of the land that we have recovered through and through. The land was grabbed by politicians, by former senior officials in the Lands Ministry, and even by private citizens. And I want to take this moment to thank the members of the public and the concerned institutions who took the trouble to report the grabbing to the Commission. And I also want to take this moment to urge members of the public, when you see public properties being grabbed, feel free to report to our offices. We can be reached physically, on telephone, or even on email or SMS, because we have hotlines where this information can be received. So I am urging all members of the public throughout the country to report these matters to us, and indeed we shall be able to take action. As we celebrate today the recovery, I also want to urge that the institutions concerned, as you take back the land, please put it into good use, put it into a use that the public will actually benefit. We have had instances where we recover land, surrender it to the concerned institution, only later on to receive reports that we need to go and investigate the matter. That is sad, and I urge that that will not happen. Therefore, Governor, I know you are part of the beneficiaries of the land we have recovered. I pray that you develop this land in a manner that the members of your county will be able to benefit. We have recovered the land through different processes. Part of it was disruption, where we actually learned that something is about to happen, and we moved quickly, frustrated effort, and processed the title in favor of the concerned institution. Part of the land was recovered through court process. Like the second bit where we visited, we were in court for about 11 years. Others is where people see the land, we have come, and they say freely, okay, I am surrendering the land. And I urge all those who may have benefited from the land, government property, to freely come to us and say they want to return. We will be able to receive it back. Through the court process, we have filed matters of asset recovery, and today we are talking about cases pending in court for recovery of assets to the tune of 10 billion Kenya shillings. All these matters are in court. We are pursuing through the court process. One of the new things we are introducing, and we really want to follow through, is the ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution. So I urge all those people we have taken to court, feel free to come to us. Invoke ADR, and we should be able to sort out the matters through that process. I want to thank the CAS who are present for having taken the trouble and the time to travel all the way from Nairobi to be with us today. The governor who has set aside his time to come and be with us today, and the deputy governor who has traveled all the way from Bomet to be with us this morning and take back the pieces of land or the paper documents that are in our possession so that they can put the land into, or the properties into good use. We have lined up a few speakers, and I will urge that they speak very briefly. Those ones who are benefiting today, I will call them here to come and just share in 2-3 minutes their experience and what they want to inform the public. And I will start with the representative from the Postal Corporation, Mr. Nyaga. I think Mr. Nyaga, you are here. Just come in a short while. That's the first property we visited this morning. Mr. Nyaga.
The Governor, Nakuru County, the Chairman, Commissioners, all protocol observed. Good morning. I stand here to represent Postal Corporation of Kenya as the regional manager. For us, our property, plot number 5/9 Nakuru, and we grabbed on the position taken over by one of us, by a Kenyan who was making use of that property. He had fenced it, it had been fenced, and the vehicles were being parked, and it was collecting rent. As Postal Corporation of Kenya, we could not utilize the space. We wanted to park our vehicles there, we wanted to put our hub there, an office of exchange, but it was not possible because of what had transpired. So we approached EACC, the Nakuru office, and they moved very fast. They went to the land's office, they saw what was happening, they proved that the property was ours, so they did a disruption, so they were able to return back the property to us. We are here to confirm that actually EACC came in very handy for Postal Corporation of Kenya, and we want to thank them sincerely, Chairman and the Commissioner, on behalf of Postal Corporation of Kenya, that actually property which belongs to the public, which belongs to the Kenyan public, had been taken, but now it's back in the position of Postal Corporation of Kenya, which is an organization of Kenya. So thanks a lot, EACC office, that is Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission in Nakuru, and the entire management of the state for assisting Postal Corporation to recover back public land. Thanks a lot, and may you continue with the good work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nyaga. The next one will be from the Director General, Carol, Dr. Eliud Kiplimo. Dr. Eliud Kiplimo. This is the land worth 490 million that is located in Naivasha that was set aside for research. But a smart Kenyan thought to take it up.
Thank you very much. The Governor, Nakuru County, Deputy Governor Bomet, Chairman EACC, the Chief Administrative Service President, DSS, CEO EACC, all protocols observed, good morning. I represent CALRO, which is the Kenya Association of Livestock Research Organization. Our mandate is to support the agriculture and livestock sector through research. We develop crop breeds, disease-resistant crops. We develop vaccines for livestock. We breed livestock that are suitable for our country. And to do that, we need land. We need land. The land in question that has been recovered today is actually 2,500 acres, worth more than 10 billion. Yes, it is more. It's 2,500 acres. And the value, yes, the value in Naivasha of that land is more than 10 billion. There are two more parcels of land which are still, before this was gazetted, we had 26 cases in court. So it means we still have 24. So we still have another 400 acres in Naivasha, which touches the lake. We have 70 acres it has been grabbed, which includes the dairy unit, it includes offices, staff quarters. So for Kenyans today, which we represent through research, is a great day. It's a great day for food security. This land grabbing has affected research so much so that I can give just one example. In Tigoni, you are aware, when a governor, there's a serious shortage of potato seed. The only land that we are using for research in Tigoni, 245 acres was grabbed. We are remaining now with only 28 acres. You cannot use 28 acres to produce seed, potato seed for the whole country. So the effect on food security of this land grabbing is very, very serious. And we have cases, as I told you, 24 cases from Kilifi to Musabaha to Kisii, Lanetia. We have cases we still have in Naivasha, all over the country. And we hope that with the new figure now we are seeing in EACC, because I've written thousands of letters, and we are so grateful. Some of us have been threatened. My staff have been evicted from houses. Some of them, their hands have been chopped because of defending government land. We spend between 30 to 40 million shillings of your money, tax money, to defend government land. So we are so grateful that you have come to our rescue, and I want to say that we are going to work together. We have a lot of information on the lands that have been grabbed. It is very documented, and we will avail it to you anytime that you require. Thank you so much, and keep up the good work.
I'm assuring Dr. Eliud Kiplimo that as a commission, as a law enforcement agency, we will do what we have to do for purposes of ensuring that justice is not just done, but is seen to have been done. Thank you for those remarks. And you can see he's echoing what I was just saying. And I'm taking this forum now, this moment now, once again to appeal. Those who have grabbed land belonging to this institution, you better return it. At this point, I want to also welcome, we were supposed to have one speaker coming from our PS, the Department of Housing. He left Nairobi this morning, he's still on the way, so we will reserve a slot for him as soon as he arrives. But for now, allow me to invite the Deputy Governor of Bomet, Dr. Hilary Marchok.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Governor of Nakuru, Honorable Liti Nyangiri, the Chairperson, EACC, Archbishop Edith Abukala, the commissioners who are with us, the CEO, EACC, Walter Barak, directors representing different institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to take this opportunity first to appreciate what God has done for us. We don't take it for granted that we are here this morning, and we want to appreciate the tiny mercies that God has given us from our various destinations to this very important function. Just want to echo what the CEO has just mentioned. It's a very important exercise where we account what we do, what we are doing as a commission, even to the public. We're investing a lot of money in terms of facilitating the commission, and the public would always want to demand to see the evidence of what you have been mandated to do, and this is one of it. So I want to take this opportunity on behalf of My Excellency Dr. Joseph Boso, the Governor of Bomet, and the entire people of Bomet, to congratulate the Commission in achieving what we are receiving today, in recovering the 2 parcels of land in Sotik. Thank you very much for doing that. We are doing on behalf of all of us, the people of Bomet and the public. Thank you. What you have done, and I want to quote from what was mentioned in the prayer, opening prayer, will actually boost the public image. I think we have been having a lot of complaints. When you talk of EACC, people would always want to imagine that what we have is a lot of talk and no action. And today, you have proven them wrong. You have taken a lot of time. This was not a simple exercise, but we can see the fruit of that effort. Na tunasema pongezi. I want to say that as I stand here today, I stand a proud man, Kenyan, with a lot of confidence, with a lot of hope. Of course, in terms of corruption, I've not been doing very well. But if this is the direction that we are taking, then there is hope. And I want to tell the Commission that you have the support of the public. Politicians, me included, should not interfere with what the Commission is doing. What you require is free hand to carry out the mandate that you have been given by the law. As politicians, we want to play our role in our own way, and we let these independent commissions carry out their mandate as given by the law. As people of Bomet, as the leadership of Bomet, I want to give the assurance to the Commission that we will support you. We will cooperate with the Commission. And that is the only way we can fight corruption. We want to walk the talk. Otherwise, we are praying for you. I have friends who are serving with the Commission, and sometimes when we talk over the weekends and they are telling us they have been threatened, their lives are at risk. We are standing with you. We are praying. And even some may even have lost their lives, have not been reported. But please, take heart. Chairman, I want to thank God that you are a bishop and you know God. The direction that you have taken is the right one. And don't backtrack whatsoever. Don't be intimidated by whoever. The only one that we fear is the Almighty God, because He's the only one who has the final say. But carry out the mandate that you've been given, knowing that all the hopes that we have as Kenyans lies with this commission in terms of fighting the corruption that is facing our country. Otherwise, we want to wish you well as you continue with the good work that you are doing. God bless EACC. God bless Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Governor of Bomet, for that assurance and the support you gave us and you continue to give us as we undertake our job. At this moment, you're aware we are in Nakuru County, and the governor had decided that we will not be received in this place. He would have made sure that our stay here was very, very uncomfortable. But we are glad he is with us. And I will take this moment now because he was also part of the support team that encouraged us as we were moved on to recover the properties that are in Nakuru, and we are going to hand over to him. So, with the humility, Governor, allow me to welcome you to give your remarks. Asante.
Thank you very much indeed. Chairman of EACC, the CEO, Deputy CEO, our CES, Munara from Lands, and Nelson from Treasury, our colleagues from Bomet, and all invited guests. I want to take this opportunity to join hands with those who have spoken before me, and also to appreciate the good work that EACC has done, and also to continue encouraging them that the journey towards recovering public assets is not easy and it's not time going to be easy. We are dealing with a matter that has been going on for a long time, and for many years it almost took a life of its own. Therefore, as we deal with this monster, I think we must at all times be aware that there are serious forces we are dealing with, and I am one of those people who strongly believe, like the Deputy CEO has said, we keep our comments brief because the best way to fight corruption is when your mouth is closed. We talk too much, we also release too much information, and this information can be counterproductive in our entire journey towards the recovery of some of these assets. But while on that also, I want to appreciate that when we got into office, the entire EACC team did visit Nakuru County, and we had a prevention conversation together with our county assembly led by the speaker, and we agreed on a few measures that we need to take so as to reduce our exposure to corruption. I am happy to note that we are implementing some of them, and it is a journey, and we hope that in days to come we'll be able to stand tall and say we've been able to close most of them on loopholes. But while on that also, we did identify some of the critical parcels of land that have been taken. And I want to say Nakuru remains also one of the epicenters where much of the public assets were taken. From research lands in Kari, research land on Operetra, research for potato, as has already been said here, and all those other supportive institutions in agriculture that were there to help us do research on vaccinations, research on diseases, many of them have gone. And as a result of that, we have all these challenges we have. We talk of food security being one of our big four. Where are we going to have it when our research institutions have been taken? And we are particularly concerned about the potato research, as has been said here, because Nakuru and Nyandarua are the leading producers of potato. But our biggest problem is that we have nowhere to do research, to try the varieties that are coming up, to see how we can be able to combat potato diseases, because our research centers in potato have been taken. So I think we must look at some of these developments in line with economic sabotage. Because when you kill a whole potato value chain by taking away land that was meant for research, for propagation, then indeed you kill a whole generation. Allow me also to say that here in town, many of our big counties, especially the urban counties, our biggest problem is that the value of land in urban centers is very high. That makes it also very attractive for would-be beneficiaries of grabbing. And as a result of that, therefore, when counties want to develop a fire station, want to develop any other public facility, if they are to set aside money to buy an acre of land, for example, the CBD of Nakuru, we'll be talking about 100 million shillings. So therefore, it becomes very difficult for counties to divert money from health, from agriculture, to go and buy land that otherwise belongs to itself. So I think we really need your help. And I must say our schools are not safe. We have about a number of schools whose land has been taken. We have a number of hospitals also here in Nakuru whose land has been taken. And the dead have also not been spared. Even our morgue has been taken, part of land has been taken. So even expansion becomes a big problem. So this is a journey we want to work together. And we believe that EACC is our long-term partner in restoring some of these public assets back to the public. And I think also more importantly, deterring those who may be thinking that they can benefit from what does not belong to them. I therefore also wish to take this opportunity to appeal to others who are still holding land that they know does not belong to them. To take the route taken by some of the people who have returned the land to government, and in probably a more quiet and diplomatic way, we can return the land. Otherwise, the other processes are still open, and I'm sure before long, they will set in and the consequences may not be too good. Lastly also, I want also to take this opportunity, maybe also on behalf of Bomet and all the other counties across Kenya, to say that we support the fight against corruption, and to also ask the support of members of the public, because corruption has no tribe, has no party, and it has no religion. And any attempts to give corruption a tribe or a religion or even a locality actually is a threat to the entire nation. So I think we must walk this journey together, and we will support and believe that there are enough mechanisms, enough laws to combat this vice, and we must all be by the anthem we have just sang here, that we want to see a country where we are free of that. Lastly also is to confirm and agree also that the biggest problems we face in the country are issues to do with unemployment, issues to do with poverty, and the world over there is a direct correlation between corruption and poverty. The richest countries are often the countries that have zero tolerance to corruption. The countries that are at the bottom edge where poverty and employment have become an industry are the same countries where you find also corruption is very high. So if you want to change the status of our country and how the world looks at us, indeed you must change the basics. That has to do with how we deal with our work. I want to end there and begin to thank you and assure you of our continued support in the journey towards a better Kenya. Thank you and the progress.
Thank you much. So thank you so much, Your Excellency, the Governor. I also want to recognize the presence of the Speaker, Nakuru County, is in our meeting. As the Speaker, Nakuru County. When he speaks, everybody else keeps quiet. Thank you for gracing our occasion this morning. In the process of investigation and in the process of processing of the title document, that would not have been possible were it not for the support that we received from very key institutions charged with that responsibility. And one of them is the Ministry of Lands. We have also the National Land Commission, and allow me to acknowledge the presence of the acting CEO of National Land Commission, who is in our midst. Thank you so much for being present with us. And our CAS is here representing the CS, and please convey our gratitude to the PS. He really supported our officers. Officers were knocking on the doors of the PS, and he gave us a lot of support, and also the NLC and the National Treasury. So allow me to, at this point, to invite Honorable Gideon Mungaro to come and give his remarks.
Thank you. Chair of EACC, CEO, with your team, all members of both the National Land Commission, the public, the county government of Nakuru, led by none other than the governor of Nakuru, the police. I want to say this as Minister of Lands. First of all, Chair, I want to thank you very much because when we came into office last year, under the leadership of CS Caroline, the first meeting we ever had as Minister of Lands was with at EACC, with the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, to hand over an audit report of the Ministry of Lands. And today, we see the fruits, Chair, that we have not only recovered the properties in Nakuru, where you are handing over titles today, but many others around the country. So I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the Ministry to really congratulate you for the work well done, the job well done. Chair, after receiving the report of audit by the EACC as a ministry, we realized that we have major problems with the which we all know, can be said by the deputy CEO, can be said by the governor, every speaker. We are trying as a new team in the ministry, under the leadership of Waziri Caroline, but in future, I want to assure you, Chair, and the CEO, that will not be number 3 on the most corrupt ministry, but will be number 3 with a good reason, so number 1. And after receiving the audit report, we started what is called Wizara Mashinani. We have been around this country. I did 6 weeks ago, I did Western Nyanza and the Rift Valley. The minister did somewhere else, the PS did somewhere else. We finished our management meeting last week, and we had a week-long in Naivasha with all the managers we have around the country on issues of land. And we discovered what you said, Chair, in your report of audit. And it's true. All what we are facing today here is because all government institutions, let's say 90% of government institutions and public institutions in general, have no title deed. You have realized one of the land recovered here is a camp of the Survey of Kenya. Survey of Kenya is under the Ministry of Lands. We have not even titled our own parcel of land. This is what is going on the ground. So we have to thank you, Chair, with your team at EACC for that audit, which really opened our eyes. And the Wizara Mashinani program at the Ministry of Lands and Visible Planning really opened our eyes that we have really problems in the land sector. We have managed now, in partnership with the National Land Commission, we are doing what is called the Shule Yangu program. And we believe by the end of this year, all the public schools in Kenya will be titled. That's one of the programs we are doing at the Ministry of Land. And thanks to EACC with the eye opener of their audit report. But now we are urging all government departments, public institutions, to come up and tell us that in this office I'm seated, there's no title deed. There is no office I visited in the area I covered, Western, Nyanza, and Rift Valley. As we are seated here, Governor, even the Nakuru registry office, we have no title deed. And we are the Ministry of Lands. These are the realities we have. And we must all wake up as government institutions and come forward and say, I am the Regional Commissioner of Rift Valley, and where I'm seated, I've never seen the title deed of my office. Some people have taken title deeds on skyscrapers, government offices, and taken loans from banks. And you are seated there as a government official in an office, and somebody else owns the title of that particular whatever. So this is what we are doing at the Ministry of Lands, and in partnership with NLC and EACC, we really want to eradicate all these problems. We took action, Chair, and as we are talking,
By last week, we have completed the removal of all the clerks who made our files sometimes go walk by foot from Nakuru Register to Nairobi. Our files were always walking somewhere. So all the clerks of the Ministry of Land have been moved to other departments of government. We have also moved any officer who is seated in, who has been in a station for more than 3 years. We discovered in the Wizara Mashinani program that some people have never moved since they were employed. They are going on, some have 3 months to go and retire, and they have worked only on one station. So they were part of these problems we are facing at the ministry. So we're not standing here to just defend. We say that we have really problems. We thank EACC for the audit report they did, because it opened our eyes and we moving forward. But going forward, we wish that our program of the easy of doing business in the Ministry of Lands, we have had that when you go for registration, it will take you up to 38 days to register on the land document. But we have a program now that we have moved from getting a search done in 4 days, even sometimes 2 weeks. If you go to Nakuru today, unless there's a problem, you should be able to get your search in a day. In Nairobi, you can do it through from the office desk. And this is on digitization. We hope that soon the Ministry of Land will be paperless. We believe by end of 2020 or beginning of 2021 that we'll be able to achieve this. So we need all stakeholders and partners on this program of paperless ministry. Finally, Chair, I'd like to really thank you and your CEO, all the team at EACC for the good work you do. We will support you. We need a lot of support from you. You know, we are really in a really mess, and we are not going to deny that. But we want to assure you that if you come to Ministry of Lands today, you might not have recovered 100%. I think you see the difference. But we have managed to move most of the brokers from our presence, and we are going to do more. And once you become paperless, then you will be doing everything from your desk, so you don't need any broker in between to broker for you any issues to do with the lands. Pongezi sana, and God bless you. Thank you.
Asante sana. You know, I like the way politicians transform, because kama angekuwa anazungumza siasa angezungumza kwa muda mrefu, lakini now he's a state officer, so he's disciplined, and we thank you, Mheshimiwa, even for those very kind remarks. At this moment, I also want to acknowledge the support we have received from the National Treasury. And when I spoke to the CS, he had committed to come, but due to other duties, he released his CAS, who had to travel to be with us this morning. He left Nairobi early this morning, and he is with us. And he tells me that his desk is full, so as soon as we are done, he will be on his way back straight to the office. So we really appreciate Honorable here for taking time to be with us. And at this moment, I want to welcome you as well to give your remarks. Asante.
Thank you very much. It's good to see you. The chairman of EACC and the commissioners around, CEO, the staff from EACC, Excellency the Governor of Nakuru, my county, Mr. Speaker, sir, and everybody from Nakuru and all the visitors from Jambo. You know, Nakuru is my home. First, I want to assure EACC that as National Treasury, we'll give you all the support, because whatever you're recovering belongs to government. And National Treasury is the custodian of the government property. So what you're doing is you're helping us to at least enrich our land bank. When I listened to Dr. Kidemo, I said EACC have a lot of work to do. That is just one institution that has over 20 cases. If we went around all institutions, I think we'll have over 1,000 cases. People have an appetite of land. I don't know where this came from. Land has become very expensive. As the champions of the Big Four agenda, we even ask ourselves, every pillar requires land. If you look at the health sector, you need land to do hospitals. If you look at manufacturing, you need land. If you look at the housing, they're actually short of land. If you look at the other pillar, all the pillars, we really need land. So when we have land that has been recovered, we have it because we are sure this is the cost of anything will be cheap. When we were doing the standard gauge railway, purchase of land was one of the most expensive things. That SGR has costed a lot because we had to buy land and that became very expensive. I was thinking there and I was thinking, we need to even rethink our land policy. If we say land belongs to government, go across to Tanzania. We don't have title. So if you want to do a railway, we can do a railway. But in Kenya, if you want to do a railway, land belongs to. But it's just a lease. So maybe later, after this forum, we should think about our land policy. Otherwise, I want to thank EACC, thank everybody, and ask Kenyans that if we need to grow our country, we have to fight corruption. And it's not just the big corruption, starting from the bottom to top. I want to thank the champions of corruption this time. I think we are feeling it because they started from top going downwards. It was actually, initially, I think it was from bottom going up, and people never used to think that EACC or the institutions try to fight corruption or working. But the minute they started from the top, I think now we're seeing a fight against corruption, and we urge you to continue that way. We'll support you, and we'll do our best to support you. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you for your, again, brief remarks. I think he has in mind the workload on his desk. Asante. I recall one time we were, budgetary process is cumbersome. You have to go and really lobby and negotiate. And one time we was having a late meeting with the CS National Treasury, Mr. Rotich, and I told him, now you are starving us because our budget was actually coming down. And we are your watchmen. You have prepared a budget of 1.7 trillion. Who will be watching over this money out there? It is us. Now, if you don't give us the room that we need to go and do our job, then your money is not safe. And he told me, I think on that note, now I have gotten a new perspective, and I am going to revise your budget. And sure enough, the budget was revised, and we want to appreciate the Treasury. We know the resources are not enough, but we are getting what we want. I know the PS housing has just come in. He's just arriving from Nairobi now. We spoke a few hours ago, and he told me he's just leaving Nairobi. He has just arrived. The agenda 4 of the president, one of the agenda 4 items is housing. And part of the property that has been grabbed actually was set aside for housing. And that's why the PS is here in person to actually say what he has to say and not say it for him. Bwana Hinga, I know you have just come, but you're comfortable in the vehicle, so Karibu and give your remarks. Just come and tell us one or two things. Karibu.
Thank you very much, the chairperson of the EACC, the CEO, Governor of Nakuru, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It gives me great pleasure to join you here this morning. It's been quite an eventful morning, busy day, flying out in a few hours. But when I got the letter of invitation to be here today, I said for two reasons I'm not going to miss this particular occasion. One is because this agenda that we are embarking on for affordable housing cannot succeed if we do not have integrity as our guiding light. And so this particular day marks a very important occasion for us, so that we can be able to ensure that the land and properties that belong to the public are in the right place. And so this is a very important day for us, and it embarks on a very important journey. Secondly, is because I am actually a son of Nakuru, and I have still not yet made my maiden journey back home. I've been in government for, in fact, it was my birthday in government last week. So I'm still yet to make my journey back here. The other day I was with the governor in Naivasha, but not been back to this part. This is where I grew up, Bondeni, uko kwa Ronda. So I am very, very, very excited to be back home. Mine this morning is just to give you a little bit of a snapshot of how this Agenda 4 of affordable housing is going to be implemented, just very, very, very quickly. As most of you might be aware, our country aspires to become a mid-economy country by the year 2030, and that is the aspirations that we gave ourselves when we came up with our long-term vision or strategy, which is our Vision 2030. Now, in order for us to do that, we agreed that we have got to make sure that our people live in decent and affordable homes. Subsequent to that, we went ahead and came up with a very progressive constitution. And Article 43(1), subsection B of the Constitution, Article 43 deals with what I like to call social justice. Went and gave every Kenyan a right to decent and adequate housing. So that is not a favor that we are doing for you. It is your right to have access to decent and affordable housing. Now, we as the policymakers, then we have got to sit back and say, how are we going to make that possible? Some of the statistics that we have been working on show that our housing condition is, a bit in dire straits, because our national demand for housing is estimated to be about 250,000 houses every year. Of the 250,000 housing, 170,000 is what you consider to be low and affordable housing class. Therefore, that means 50,000 is for what is the majority of houses that are being done today, which is for the 3% of the population. The challenge that we have is that the actual supply versus the demand, we are only supplying 50,000 every year against 250. But one of the more shocking statistics is that of the 50,000, 49,000 is for the high end. So we're doing 49,000 out of 80,000 for the high end market. Now, most of you, I'm sure you went through college or campus. If you get 49 out of 80, I'm sure you get a pass. You're not necessarily an A student, but you're good to go to the next grade. But for the affordable housing, every year we're doing 1,000 out of 170,000. And again, if we take the example of being in school, I don't even think that is a failure. People will say you just simply never showed up. And that is what describes our housing market. So therefore, what has happened over time is that because we are not producing decent housing for majority of our people, we've got all these slums and informal settlements that have continued to grow in all our, especially in our urban areas. And therefore, at some point, we have got to stem the proliferation of these slums. Now, very quickly, as a State Department, we identified 4 key areas that have become critical to change, if at all we are going to come very close to denting those numbers. Number one, we identified land as a critical, something that has got to change, because land in Kenya is what I call obscenely expensive. I lived 19 years out of this country, and I can tell you that land in Nairobi is the most expensive in the continent. And of course, in the urban areas as well. So Nakuru, Mombasa, and the other major towns follows very closely. Now, when you go deeper and try and find out why is land so expensive in some of our urban areas, some of the reasons that we get are there is a lot of land that is in private hands that is just moving from one hand to the other, most of it for laundering purposes, and there is a lot of speculative behavior without any value creation. That is number one. Number two, where there is sufficient land, we have not invested in critical infrastructure to open it up so that we can do the housing. So therefore, you find that then the cost of land that is developable is limited, and therefore it becomes very expensive. So as government, for us to achieve this pillar of affordable housing, we have got to come up with measures to address the issue of land. And one of the measures to do that is a bill that was thankfully passed by the Senate. It had gone through the National Assembly in the previous government term, which is called the Land Value Index. This is was a very important bill because it starts to curb the issue of speculative behavior. Now, most of you also would be very much aware that the provision of critical government services is frustrated as a result of the cost of land. Now, I am a victim of that because one of the programs that is funded by the World Bank, when I say I, in our State Department, we are victims of that because we've just lost about $250 million from the World Bank because after 8 years, we were unable to acquire enough land to do a road. And why? Because the cost of acquiring the land is more expensive than the cost of doing the road, which is insane. So therefore, we need all hands on the deck so that we can tackle this issue of land. Otherwise, it's going to become almost impossible to provide you as a citizens with the critical infrastructure and the housing that is a right to you. The second issue is what we call the cost of construction. The cost of construction also in our country is a bit high. And one of the reasons why the cost of construction is high is because we have got we have not adopted a building code that is reflective of today's, where we are in the world. So we are still using a 1940-something building code that only recognizes stones as the only building material, while the world over has moved on to things like what we call prefabricated, precast, in situ, steel gauge, and so on and so forth. So the other thing that we need to do is that we don't have standards. So, our Juakali people make doors and windows, but because we do not have standardized windows and doors, as a matter of fact, I was told that the size of a window here is normally the space you leave after you build a house. So that means that you have to get a fundi to come and measure, and therefore they cannot be able to get scale. So we are tackling these issues by coming up with what is called industrialized building techniques. We are standardizing this, some of these products. As a matter of fact, we have just come up with a handbook together with the National Construction Authority that is going to guarantee all our SMEs and Juakali sectors with an opportunity for you to produce as many doors, windows, and all those things to the public. Number three is the cost of that comes with processes that do not are in conflict with the agenda. So, for example, we have got about 39 pieces of legislation that we have looked at, and there is policy misalignment. Let me just give you one example. In last year's finance bill, we came up with a banning, I think it was environment, they banned logging. which is, I guess it was driven by the fact that we need to conserve our forest. But on the other hand, we went and added duty on imported timber. And at the same time, we are talking about affordable housing. Those three things do not talk to each other, because timber is a core component in building houses. So if we cannot log locally, and then we have made imported timber to be more expensive, then it means that the cost of the houses will rise up. So therefore, we are looking at many pieces of legislation that we need to look at so that we can align them. So as a standalone, the policies make sense, but when you look at them as a universe, they are in conflict with each other. And also legislation that is old. There's some pieces of legislation that are 4 years, 5 years, 6 years in Parliament. We have got something that we're working with the Lands Ministry on sectional titling, because today if we build up, and that is the only way we have to build, because we don't have enough land to build horizontal, so we have to go vertical. But you cannot get a title if you're on the 14th floor. It becomes such a mess. So we need to fix some of those things, also including procurement, because procurement has become a major milestone for accounting officers. I went to a school the other day, and I was talking to young people and asked them, what do you want to become in life? And majority of them wanted to become procurement officers. And I said, what happened to being engineers and architects and to being accountants? People want to become procurement officers. Why? Because procurement has become complicated, and in the process, ukora inaingia, and that is where the rain started beating us. You've seen what has been happening in the last couple of days. And that is why, for whatever happens and all the noise that is going on, this war on corruption has got to be won. Because it is eroding. In fact, I am very surprised that this country, we must be a very resilient country. Because some of the stuff that you're reading in the papers, you actually wonder, how do we survive as a country? So we've got to fix some of these things. Some of them are long-term. Others, we just have to just go for broke and make sure that we do those things. Number 4 is the cost of financing. Cost of financing in Kenya for housing is crazy. Let me give you some statistics. For a country of almost, we're going into census, so we'll know how many we are, but between 46 and 50 million people, we have 25,000 mortgages. 25,000 bank mortgages. Now, even the 25,000 bank mortgages, they are more distorted, because 17,000 of them are a financial institution advancing non-market-based loans to their employees. So you get a 5% loan, that is not market. But therefore, that means that the total number of market-based mortgages in our country is less than 10,000. So where have Kenyans gotten the alternative to build houses? They've gone to SACCOs. But the SACCO model has got its own challenges. What are the challenges of the SACCO model? The SACCO models, as most of you know, you belong to a SACCO. Munakutana, munachanga. You buy land, you repay back the loan that you got from the SACCO. Then you go back after repaying and borrow some more money to put up your top structure. Unajenga pole pole. By the time you're done, you go back to ask for the finishes. As a matter of fact, as I said, I'm a son of Nakuru. My father died building a house for us. Hapa Mailitisa Bahati. He never finished building a house after 10 years. And that is the model that you have. The other thing that is also shocking as a country is that the ratio of rent to mortgage is 1:6. In some of the more advanced countries, it is 1:1. That means, what that ratio means is that you cannot go get a mortgage and get a tenant to live in there, because the rent that you're going to get is 1/6 of what you have to pay for your mortgage. So there are fundamentals that have got to be fixed, if at all we're going to come close to these affordable housing. And so therefore, what we've done on the financing side is that we've looked at the supply side and the demand side of financing. On the demand side, we have established 2 institutions. One is called the Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company, which is about We were waiting for the central bank approval, which I think we got perhaps last week. We're negotiating with both the World Bank and Africa Development Bank to get a credit line of $300 million. And this, what that money is going to be, is going to introduce what we call secondary liquidity into the market. So we are going to finance banks and SACCOs so that they can issue you with mortgages that are below the 14% interest rate and give you a long tenure to pay. Because at the moment they're giving you short tenures. So if you get 7 years to pay at 13%, it means only a few of you can be able to afford. So we've given banks credit lines and we are hoping that they're going to lend at about 7% and then give you 20 to 25 years to pay for your loan. Therefore, it means that you should not be spending more than 30% of your income to own a decent house. The second thing that we have done is that because this Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company, the word mortgage denotes that there is an eligibility criteria. So you still need to qualify for the mortgage. Now, the study that we have done shows that for you to qualify for a mortgage in this country, you need to be earning above 150,000. Now, do you know how many people in this country earn 150 and above? Less than 3%. That means 97% of all working Kenyans are basically not bankable. Therefore, we had to introduce another institution which is called a housing fund, which calls for collective contribution, which is not different from what you're doing with your SACCOs. But then what you're going to do is you're going to issue with what is called a tenant purchase scheme. If you're in the social housing category, which is if you earn less than 20,000, you get interest at 3% over 25 years to repay. So let me give you examples because we've already built houses and we have already issued these mortgages at 3%. In Kibera, Soweto A, we built 822 units. The typology is a one-roomed house, which is 600,000 shillings, or a two-roomed house, which is 1 million, and a three-roomed house, which is about 1.4 million. For the 600,000, the rent to own is 2,500 shillings a month. For the two-roomed house, it is 4,500. And for the three-roomed house, it's 6,500. And these are the going rates in the slums for what they're renting to get a shack, which has no water, has no basic services. This is the transformative power of this particular agenda, is that we are not asking you to pay more than what you are paying today, but we want to make sure you pay at that rate, but get a decent house that you will own. And some people are asking, why ownership? 92% of all the people in the urban areas, they rent. And the answer is, people rent not because they want to rent, but because they don't have means to own. And ownership of assets is the first path out of poverty, because you can always get someone to come and you can go get a loan for a small business. Now, lastly, is on the demand, is on the supply side. On the supply side, most developers are not willing to finance for 97% of Kenyans. That is why you've been left on your own to go build all these structures. So therefore, we've come up with a very innovative financing package. We have just closed our first window, which is called Window 1, which closed on Valentine's Day, on 14th of February. And once the investors got to understand about this program, which is an off-balance sheet program, on the 14th of February, we invited 4 strategic partners. First strategic partner are investors. Second strategic partners, people with technology. Third strategic partners are people that have got execution capabilities. And fourth, private landowners. And out of all those, we have got 84 projects, 9,900 acres of privately available land for development, and close to $20 billion of pledges from investors to come and put up these houses. The model works that they build the houses, and when the houses are ready, the fund, which we are starting soon, will go and buy those houses, and we allocate the houses on a transparent and open way. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, ours is to ask you for your support, because construction of houses is labor intensive. For every one house you build, we're going to create between 3 and 5 new jobs. and those are direct jobs. The economy, for every $1 that is going to be invested in this market, we're going to create $3 to $5 new. Our economy at the moment is struggling. People are hurting. People don't have cash. We need to support this agenda because it is going to stimulate our economy. But above all things, we've got to do this with integrity and ensure that governance is our guiding light. And therefore, that is why this morning we're happy with this partnership with EACC and other, what we call our last line of defense. And we pray for you that even despite and in spite of all the noise that is going on, that you will be resilient in your work, because if we don't do that, the cost of providing services to Kenyan is going to become impossible. So mine, therefore, is to thank you so much and to appreciate the efforts that you have done in recovery of all the property that belongs to government, which will go into the pool to make sure that we develop houses for you Kenyans. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Yes, those statistics. I thought you had carried a paper, but they're in the head. Thank you so much for the many remarks. At this point, I want to acknowledge the presence of the Regional Commissioner, Mr. Mwongo. I don't know where you are seated. Asante sana, Mr. Mwongo is in our midst. Therefore, as the Regional Commissioner, we know we are quite safe. Thank you, sir, for being with us. At this moment, I want to, without much ado, welcome the CEO as well to give his remarks. Major, karibu.
Thank you, DCO. Everybody has talked about his attachment to Nakuru. Mine is not the most pleasant. When I joined the army, I reported here at Lanet, and I don't want to recall. The Governor, Nakuru County, Honorable Lydia Njui, Chief Administrative Officer, National Treasury, Chief Administrative Officer, Secretary, that is Minister of Lands, and my immediate former MP, Kilifi North, Mr. Mungaro, Chairman, Archbishop retired Edward Bukala, he's the one who gave me the job. EACC Commissioners, Deputy Governor of Bomet, Dr. Barchok, the Principal Secretary. I really appreciate what you presented to us, but some of us have allergy figures. And then distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the media, you cannot ignore them. We are very happy today that we are here for this big occasion. And I have a speech, but I like going outside sometimes. All the 11 properties were shown here. And you heard from the PS about what is going on in the Lands Ministry. You heard from the Director Cargo the issue of it even being threatened by people who have perpetrated an illegality. Instead of getting scared that they may go to jail, they end up telling you that they will even chop your hand. This shows an extent of greed and abuse of power in this country that used to be there before. We are assuring you and other institutions that the land will be recovered. I know it takes time, but we shall use the ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution. There is one plot that we visited with the media where we were told it took 11 years to resolve, Your Excellency. Now, we do asset tracing, we do asset recovery. The process is very cumbersome. It takes many years. The judiciary is overstretched. The cases of asset recovery are dealt by the Land and the Environmental Court. You cannot take them to any other court. So it's a long process. But what we can assure the public is that we shall recover the land, no matter how slow it is. Because how can you go and take 2,000 acres worth 10 billion shillings as an individual or individuals when you had the PS housing saying that one of the biggest problems of this country is land. We are having a very big problem right now with the SGR. We have a small stretch for the SGR to Naivasha to be completed, but there are some issues about how that compensation should be done. We cannot go and see land that is valued at maybe 7 million, it has been valued at let's say 100 million. We will not accept for that transaction to go on. But this does not stop the project to continue. I think somebody said that we need to review our land policies as a country. Because we are talking about Agenda 4, and the Agenda 4, all of it is touching on land. And if land is going to be very expensive, how are we going to move on? So what we are saying as EACC is that EACC will support, bring those complaints, we'll try our level best to ensure that land that does not belong to individuals, just because they misuse their powers once upon a time, or so it was acquired fraudulently, we shall follow it and to revert back to the state or the rightful institution. What we also need to know is that EACC, people have been hyped to believe that to be reactive is the solution to corruption. I am not dismissing investigations. We shall do investigations and we shall do them objectively. We are a non-political entity and our colleagues are non-political entities. They are doing their job and we are doing our job. Diversion of the issue of fighting corruption to be said it is political. We are not part of that, and even our colleagues are not part of that. We shall follow up cases and we shall follow the rule of law. What we are saying also is that EACC is also concentrating on the issue of proactive approach in dealing with corruption. There's no point of waiting until a crime has taken place. They will go and spend 11, 15 years with you to conclude one case. We are going on preventive and CS Munaro, we can assure you we are very happy that you are implementing what was reviewed by the Commission. If we do system review as a Commission and you follow what we recommend, you will avert 80% of corruption issues. But if we ignore our reports, something bad will happen and now you'll call us to come and do investigation and taking us through a very tedious procedure. So we are saying that let us recover this land. Let us look at land in the form of land is a source of investment in this country, because many investors are shying away from Kenya's big urban areas because land is quite expensive. When they work out, they realize that there's no return for the return on investment is not working out. So we are looking at issues of proactive approach to address the issue of corruption, and we are shifting our strategy. We are moving from what we call a proactive to from reactive to a proactive approach, and we need collaboration. We need the public to assist us in giving out information. The media, you are the people on the ground. You see a lot of things. Come and partner with us. Sometimes to Boga, there's no problem. Sometimes you hit us. You know, we need to be answerable to the public and the media. They're the ones who are there to contact what we are doing. But the media can give us a lot of information in terms of wealth laundering, because I don't call it money laundering. It's no longer money laundering. It's wealth laundering. What is happening in counties? Our focus is on counties. Please, Bwana Governor, when we say focus on counties, people say, well, when are you coming for us? It's not an issue of coming for, we are not targeting individuals, we're not targeting governors, we're not targeting the auditors. We are saying, because of the devolution, pesa imeenda kwa counties sasa, iko mingi. So we need to focus on counties. And we will feel good to work with counties, do system review, and if the review is followed properly, Bwana Governor, even your work will become easy. But if we are treated that we are just there to come and create terror against the counties, we will be heading nowhere. So we ask the counties to cooperate with us, because even a common man knows that counties have got a lot of leakages. And the blame is not the governor. The governor has got officers that he has entrusted to do business. And these are the people who are letting down the governor. So we want to work with the counties, we want to work with the government institutions, we want to work with ministries and even the private sector, because our mandate gives us also a leeway to advise private sector on how to combat corruption. So in conclusion, we need more collaboration, and don't look at the EACC in terms of just coming to do investigation, but look at EACC as an enabling body, because our mandate goes on prevention, education, awareness. So we look at everybody as a partner, and the reporting mechanism are very open. We have anonymous reporting system, we have regional offices. All this work that has been done in Nakuru has been done by the EACC regional office in Nakuru, and it worked with other government agencies to the final date today that we have now titles for those institutions. So we are not here to tell people we are promising you that we are reverting the land to you. No, we are here today in this ceremony to give back titles to the the rightful owners of those pieces of land. Starting from Carlo, you've heard what the governor has said. Nobody can do research now because we don't have enough land. And it hits on us very, very badly as a community or as citizens. This is a country where almost over 70% of the population is under 30 years. None of you here will tell you that he is not worried as a parent that he has taken his son or daughter to university, but the biggest challenge you have is you don't know where this boy or girl will get employment. And we cannot create employment tukiendelea na hii siasa ya ukora, greed, theft, and personalizing and thinking that everything is for me. Everything is for all of us. By doing that, these children of ours will have a future. Failure to which, if we believe that corruption is the only way that can enrich you very fast, I can tell you our children are in trouble, no matter what degree they do, because I hear people say, oh, they are poverty-related degrees that will not give you employment. Today, even engineers don't have jobs in this country. Accountants don't have jobs in this country. You just apply, advertise for jobs, and see how the applicants, you are advertising for 12 vacancies. You get 1,600 qualified applicants. So we must do something, we must address the issue of corruption, and with that, this country will have a very good future. So finally, I take this opportunity to welcome my chairman, Bishop retired Eliud Bukala. I normally say that this is a very good combination. You know, he's a man of God, and I'm an ex-military officer. So when my military drive becomes too much, he calls me and says, Major, I will slow down, get over. And I slow down. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I want to thank you so much. Major retired Friday. I'm also happy to be retired. Both of us are not tired. As everybody started talking here, you mentioned our affiliation to Nakuru. I also want to confess that I was a teenager where I used to stay. I almost settled in Nakuru because I was employed by the provincial administration of that time under the system at the time. So we were discussing before. After they found me going to office without the tie. That's why I went to put on tie. And it gave me 5 minutes to go and come back at 4 when I'm in the tie. And I ended up looking for the collar, and now in Nakuru. So, Governor of Nakuru, thank you so much for taking this event. We all belong to you here. All our guests that are accepted to come, the Deputy Governor of Bomet. Thank you so much for coming. The Chief Administrative Secretary for Lands, our friend William Muharo. Thank you, because when you are the honorable MP, you used to welcome you and appreciate your constituency. And now, as a land lady, you have become an administrator. It's a wonderful opportunity for all of us. The Chief Administrative Secretary for National Specialist actually comes to receive evidence that we have processed installation procurement here. All of us here present, I might make a mistake, but all protocols observed. I want to start first of all by appreciating the staff and the people I work with at EACC. A lot has been said about them. Last year today, the commissioners, two of them, my colleagues, they can stand up, I think, to present. We have 5 of us, and 2 are here, plus there was 3, Commissioner Ross and Commissioner Dr. Naban. We have Commissioner Gachoka, who is presenting at the International Bank, and also the Vice Chair, also representing us elsewhere. And in this organization, we have the CEO, Mr. Sally Mala, who actually runs the show. He is in charge of the entire talent, and also work that you see, their work. So, thank you so much. The deputized by this one there is somewhere next to me. And within that, we have the reference. I want to mention this so that you know, I think it's not a one-person show, it's a teamwork. We have the Eagle Department, Directorate of Legal Affairs, Mr. Tom, yeah. And today, Mr. Tom has mentioned something. Look at it, I have said that there should be a higher punishment for grabbers of land and for corruption. I have said that even God is within the Bible. The sinners, and that's why we have to work hard, God is going to hell. And in hell, the fire never stops burning. And when you are in hell, you just continue burning the rest of your life. So it's a life sentence in hell. Why do they have a life sentence for corruption in Kenya? I've said that. So I know that you can do follow-up when a parliament can actually accept to do like that. They find it very heavy. That is not a good thing to be a corruption. Then we have our director for investigation, Southie. Now for him. That's where, as you hear our CEO saying, next time, do investigation, go all over, and you know Kenyans are very, very clever. They don't want, they hide all the evidence. When you start asking like this, you have to go to other counter to get this. And now I'm happy when they are joining me, they're trying to do all this even better. It can take a short time, but it takes more. And so thank you, Mr. Abdi, for the work you have done to ensure that this is covered. And then we have the Directorate of Leadership and Development, I think also Lucy heads development and leadership. I think it's where our program lies as a country. Our strategic plan this year says that we want an executive-led country, free of corruption. We would like to see that the executive is the one in our office, in our life. That we don't need a prefect around. And the EACC has a whole department which coordinates all this work, helps organizations to create codes of conduct or ethics and they approve them. We would like to see a country where all of us are happy and working together because we are created by the values that we have created. And we have another department which is the preventive. Again, for is not here. That's where you have a hand of the risk assessment that are done. We have done that in Nakuru County and Nakuru to study all that. And as our CEO has said, when we bring those things that we all of them out or in the county, because we identify the loopholes, and then those loopholes, if you follow either digitized or proper governance structures are put in place, you end up actually saving a lot of money and trouble for yourself. So the preventive directorate is also done. And within that also I think I'll go, but there are several parts. What I'm trying to say is that we are to work together, and I want to assure all of us that we are focused and we shall continue to provide the policies and the strategies at the commission level without fear or favor in order to lead this country on corruption. I want to say that we shall continue, as I began mentioning, to ensure that the people still do not enjoy their way. It's a difficult thing, I know. The CEO will have a lot of things to do in order to get it. But at the end of the day, we have to ensure that the capital taken that not useful to him or her. Secondly, we can still continue to request that our systems allow for punishment, so that we say, what belongs to Kenya must belong. And so the Commission will continue to provide strategic direction along those lines. We prioritize cases according to the value that is there, we go for them, according to the personality involved, and also according to the public interest, like that kind of event. But above all, my friends, why should we shame ourselves over this? Because for me, I look at the legal rules that we can have in this country without corruption. Just imagine a country where there is no corruption. You see, the joy that we give in our families, the kind of jobs that we people are talking about here that we generated, because we have not lost money. So I want to talk about this one, about the work that we are doing. It's not for the sake of just working, but for the sake of creating an environment where thousands and thousands of young people can get jobs. You people sitting here, you are very careful to say. You must say that in your house there is one, two, or three people looking for a job. I don't need to ask you to put up your hand. But there are no jobs. Now, there was a time in this country, 1970, I can say one of that time, when after the Harare schools started to pour in the market, a lot of Form 4 graduates, a lot of the Form 5 and 6 graduates. People thought that the country was flooded, very highly educated people who have no jobs. And then the leadership of that time, most of us started to address that issue. They said, let's have a tripartite agreement. That was the trade unions, the private sector, and the government. They start together. I say, now look at all these young people. They have no job, what they do? And they say, every entity in the country, whether private firm or public office, who have 10 people employ one extra person, 10% of your workforce, you have to add that 10% in. actually, any young people who are just looking for employed, I could call some people and notices there was no space. But because the leadership had sat together and said they must occupy these young people, whether you are standing and or sitting under a tree, you are happy because you are something. So we have that 10% increment. But there's a price, of a cost. And that's why I want to come back to us as Kenyans. First cost was there will be no promotion for any person in the civil service at that time. How many of you are ready to forego your promotion? You know that kind of increment that is automatic every year. You are not to have it. Secondly, you are not supposed to, of course, there was no increment in salary, there was no promotion for people. That was our cost. And the people of that day had to bear. Now, I'm not saying we can do that now, but we must sit together and address this issue of unemployment in this country. And EACC, as your organization, as your institution, we shall do our part to help you understand that it's corruption that has contributed a very big percentage of the unemployment in the country. As the PS for Land has just mentioned, if he goes on with his agenda, there are many jobs that are going to be created and many other people to be employed. And so, I want you, my friend, to partner with me. EACC as a friend who is looking for a future that is going to deal with our problems in this country. Corruption is because of greed. How much money do you need to be satisfied? How much money is enough for you or for us in this life? It is never enough. But let us be contented with the life we have as we share with other people. And so it's my joy today to witness the handing over of titles of land that has been taken from the government and for the work that was important in this country. And as my colleagues have already said, I want to ask you to share with those people who have the other land, wherever you are, please come as a society as a policy by the commission. We have said we go for ADR. We did that, we recovered the land to the University of Nairobi, just about a month ago. It was worth about 4 million. The University of Nairobi is going to do some research work there. And we just want to request any Kenyan who may have taken that land anywhere, please come. You can see how it is done here. We are not parading anybody. Unaona hapa nani ameambiwa wewe lipa. Hakuna, just bring that land back. So take it back to the Kenya. And not just the land. Even the money. I know you may not want to bring money back, but let us not just bring it. We shall share with you and take you through the ecosystem. It allows you to take this money back to people of Kenya. And so thank you, Your Excellency, the Governor and the representatives of government who have come here, especially the Deputy Governor of Bomet and the rest of us who have come. And my friends, thank you. One of the occasions, may God bless you and we partner together so that we may remain corruption in our country and bring stability and dignity to the people of our beloved nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Grace. I'll now call upon the CEO and the Chair just to take their positions there.
because we want to finalize by way of handing over the titles. And the first will be the CAS, Treasury and Housing. Government property, although it belongs to you, is registered in the National Treasury's name. So in the CAS National Treasury, will be acknowledging. Take your positions. We have processed the title. Give me one of them. Give me one of the titles. Yeah. These are the titles that we have processed for each and every one of them. So there is nothing to sign on the titles. The ministry and the National Land Commission have signed everything. So what they will be signing is to acknowledge. We want to have the evidence that they have received the titles. So you may have your seat and then you proceed with the signing. Yeah, Khalid, take this. So we are starting with the National Treasury. Yeah, you can stand behind and witness. Yeah. I think the instructions are clear. Don't read it, but tumewasomea. Nyinyi mweka tu sahihi. Tumewasomea. Your Grace, weka tu sahihi, tumesoma. Na iko sawa. Tumesema iko sawa. The one the CEO has signed, the part is the chair. And it will the CAS. Yes. Then your research institute will be next. So, Daktari, where are you? Just be, you on standby, na watu wako, takuja to receive. If they have signed, the CAS will just stand to create room for the next one. Yeah? And then write the number. Okay? Those are 6 titles. They are valued at over 70 million, 74 million actually. It's a public event. If any of them loses the document, we'll make reference to this occasion. Ama wakiuza, tukiwafuata, this is evidence that will be used against you. Harakisha.
Now I want to call the next one. No, who is signing? All of them. The presentation now will be done to the CAS by the chair and the CEO, and it's witnessed by the PS housing.
So this is Nakuru municipality, block 5, block 2.6.
Yeah. What?
The governor to come.
Governor, and then
Lakini asiye tu kuandika title.
what I suggest we do is that in the interest of time, we just hold one, because they are put all of them together, then it is rolled as one, because there are 6 titles, instead of individually.
So this is the Nakuru municipality, block 4, block 2.6. This one is Nakuru municipality, block 13, 2.6. This one is Nakuru municipality, block 4, 2.7.
Block 13.
This is Nakuru municipality, block 4, 2.6. So they are all going to change.
Haya, hiyo tumemaliza. Yeah? Haya, now next is research. Research. So the CES now you can see the CES. Yeah? CES National Treasury unajua ni national. Yeah?
It's a custody.
Yes. Yeah? Everything has been handed over. Yeah? Now research. Not yet. Yes, in second now, director of research. Yeah. The director is there. After that, we'll be calling on Bomet. The county secretary Bomet. Faisal, be on standby. Faisal, be on standby. I'll call you shortly. Just be on standby. The Ministry of Land, CS lands, when they're handing over, join national office, their land. Okay, tumemaliza. Maliza, we do the handing over, the director. Dr. Kimo. Now that is your property which will be covered for you. Proceed and do the research. More to follow. Proceed and do the research. We need potatoes. Okay?
Next is Bomet. Bomet. The County Secretary Bomet, which is by the Deputy Governor. Oh, yeah. Eliud, now you can take your seat. Yeah. County Secretary is on, I'm told is signed, witnessed by the Deputy Governor. Yes, unajua ni national, lands yote. Mama tu. Hii yote imetoka kwako. Yours is national function. Haya, hii imeisha. Okay, do the handing over. Handing over. Haya. Mr. Faisal, just come. Now take your seat. As you receive your titles, just hold them. Take your seat with your titles. Again, we will come all of us here so that you can display the titles, all of us. Yeah? Mr. Faisal? Yeah. Governor Nakuru, witness this one. Yeah. Haya, hiyo ikimbizwe. We are almost coming to the end of the session. I will again ask that the CAS National Treasury, the CAS Housing, and all who have received the titles to come and stand here, hold your titles, display to the media for one final photo. Now, if you're done, we can do the presentation. Yeah, you're handing over. Asante. Now, Faisal, the CAS, all of you with the titles, just come in the front here, hold your titles, display to the public, and we take one photo. Yeah? Yeah. The title holders. You are the one who has enabled that to happen. Yeah? Yes, Ivo. And we are telling the public, we have recovered that, more to follow. I tried farming and I went for potatoes, and the soil was so good I harvested 15 bags, but there was no market. So nienda hasara sana. So research, we need more. Asanteni. Now we just indulge me, we are coming to the end. At this point I'm going to invite Commissioner Dabar to come and give a vote of thanks. After that, you can also do the closing prayer. Commissioner Dabar.
Okay, thank you. Your Excellency, Governor of Nakuru, Deputy Governor Bomet, Chairman EACC, various CAs from various ministries, the PS for Minister of Urban Development, other senior government officials, commissioners from EACC, Secretariat, and various other officers. Just before I make a vote of thanks, let me give you a story that I had this week over the BBC Somali radio. There was a man who stole camels from his colleagues 34 years ago. 34 years ago. And the camels, the time he was declaring, were 250 camels. This guy invited the BBC and the VOA and other agencies. And unfortunately, the person whom he stole the camels from died, but he knew the family and the offspring. This happened in the Somali region of Ethiopia. And he handed over last week 250 camels that he stole, the products for what he stole 34 years ago. And the guy was so emotional. And Islamically, that is one of the best things you can ever do. Any stolen property. By the way, that's the same place, because on the day of judgment, which the chairman was talking before you go to hell, it's only that individual who is going to come to take you to court. But when you steal public resources, it's the entire 45 million Kenyans coming for you. And how is the punishment decided on that? First of all, anything good deeds that you did, whether you went to pilgrimage 100 times or your prayers, any good thing will be taken from you. Because there's no money. When all your good things which you did are over, the 45 million Kenyan sins will be now given to you. Sheikh, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Can you imagine that punishment? You take property of the public. That's the punishment. Are you able to shoulder 45 billion Kenyan sins that you are unable to do your own as an individual? So these are not simple matters. Let me give my thanks now. First and foremost, we thank the Almighty Allah, who has really brought us here today, and to make this function as successful. We thank the governors from various counties, the Bomet and Nakuru, senior government officials, some of them who have left their offices to come and witness this. We sincerely appreciate. This is not an easy time for you. There's a lot of work being done. And of course, the good insight you have given us. I was very happy really, and I hope everybody will be on top of this work or our work, like the PS, that statistics and the global aspect of housing, I think was something which we need to acknowledge. Thank you very much to us all, the other speakers. I would like also to thank very much the other partners who have joined us, the National Treasury, the Ministry of Lands, and all other agencies, National Lands Commission, and other agencies that have been supporting us. More importantly, even the institutions that have come forward to complain that they have lost their land. More often than not, and I'm telling you, Mr. Abdi and Mr. Mobile will tell you, they are witnesses. When we are at the top mark of the case, we just withdraw. This is maybe it's as a civilian, either he has been bought or because he has been threatened. So those of you who came to report to us, it's very, very important, and we thank you very much. I also want to thank specifically the Nakuru, our office in Nakuru, for that well done job. Thank you very much. It's not easy. More often than not, everything goes to the national political party. It is through your good work that we really create this very important aspect. I would like also to thank all other speakers, including Mr. Mobile, who has really steered us this morning, including the visits and others. And finally, I would like to thank the hotel for this management, for giving us this. But more important, all what we did today will not be known if it is not one, the media. Media, you are the best eyes and ears of Kenyans. You hear most, you're almost everywhere like vultures. You know what just want to see, nyama ikichinjwa unaona moja inakuja. You are the eyes and ears of this poor Wanjikus and the Abdis and the Halimas and what we call Musebodis or whatever. Please, we thank you very much. Keep reporting. Don't be shy. Don't feel shy. Don't be ashamed. We depend on you. And that's what we love you for. And finally, let's have a word of prayer. So at least we can now go back to the other. You may need to sit or whatever. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, praise be to thee, King of the day of judgment. We alone we worship and we alone we ask for help. Guide us in the right path, the path of those who we have favored, of those of one who let us pray, all and beyond. God, we thank you very much this morning and this part of the afternoon for bringing us together for the good work that we have done today in honor of our country. We still, the sheikhs and the other religious people prayed for us in the morning, ask you to give us more strength to fight this vice. There's no room for a thief in any region in this world. There's no honor that comes to the house that has brought on the table resources that are stolen from either an individual or a community. We ask you to guide us so that you can give us a small piece of acceptable food that we have earned through our crowd, through our sweat. That is what is with your blessings. And we ask Kenyans to really follow the religions that we profess, because no religion actually accepts that. God, as we depart from here, guide us the way you have guided us into our respective places, and we still need your direction. Give us more energy to work for you, and so that this we can become good examples for the rest of Kenyans. Whatever else we are going to take in from this food and other things, we would like to put place and make our resources, our people so we can even do more better placing things in your sake. In thy name alone, we pray.